Hi, I'm Tim and this is Timberway Designs. In this series of videos, I take 10 rocks, 10 common rocks that anybody can find out there, and I cut them in half. We look at what's on the inside, and then I'll take half of them rocks, or 10 of the halves, and I'll make cabochons out of them, and then I'll show those in the next episode. So this week, Carmen from California sent me a nice selection of rocks here that I'm going to cut in half. I mean, a lot of really nice ones. I picked out 10 I thought were different and cool. And we're going to cut those in half. We're going to take a look on the inside. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, from California, I'm not familiar with all the rocks out there. I'm going to take a guess at what they are. So Carmen, if you're watching, send me an email and help me out with identifying these rocks. I know you left some notes in your note there, but I'm kind of at a loss here. So I'm going to take these rocks, I'm going to spread them out here. We're going to take a look at them, and then we'll take them downstairs and cut them in half. So these are going to be the 10 rocks that I picked out of that big box of rocks that Carmen sent me that I'm going to cut in half. So I'm trying to kind of make them representative of all the ones she sent me. I mean, there's some really cool ones in there. I'm not going to lie. So let me get them out of the bag here, and we'll get them all lined up, and then we'll get them wet and see what we got going here. Here we go. Okay. So this first one here, to me, looks like it's quartz, and got some agate stuff going on in there. Let's get it wet. Oh yeah, this one ought to be a very interesting cut. All right, this one here, same thing, got some color to it. Get it wet. Yeah, amygdaloidal, maybe jasper with some quartz in it. Okay, here's another one. It's got some agate stuff going on in there. Now she had rhyolite and agate or whatever. Get this one wet. Look at that. That is so pretty. Okay. Another chunk here. I'm going to go out and say this is probably a jasper with quartz. I don't know if I should be holding my little finger up while I'm looking at these rocks. These are really nice. Yep. And this one here. A lot of them got quartz veins running through them. It's pretty cool. Another jasper maybe with quartz. Okay. This big guy here. Jasper, definitely. Got some, looks like it's got some dendrites running through there. A few fractures. Another piece of jasper. Like the color. They might have some mica in the cracks there. Okay. This one. Another jasper and quartz maybe. God, look at the pattern on that. And it's got fortifications too. It seems like every one of these rocks got fortifications on there. All right, this one here, not jasper, I don't think. Get it wet. Wow. That's pretty cool. And then we got this one here. Let's get it wet. I'm thinking of jasper with stuff in it. Quartz, jasper. Yeah, so I think these things are going to give my saw blade a workout. So we're going to gather these up. We're going to take them downstairs. We're going to cut them and see what the inside looks like. Now, if anybody's wondering how my thumb's going, I'm covering it up with a Band-Aid because It's kind of ugly right now. It's growing out to the end. And then it's starting to kind of break off where the owie was, and it's starting to snag on everything. So that's kind of a pain. It should be done here probably in about, I don't know, 3 weeks or a month or so. And then it should be all growing out. And then I'm going to do a time-lapse photography because a lot of people were interested in the state of my thumb. So we'll look forward to that, huh? Okay, here's the 10 rocks that I selected that Carmen sent me from California. We're going to take them downstairs in the saw. We're going to cut them and see what's on the inside. So I'll meet you on the saw. All right, we're down here on my 10-inch high-tech lapidary saw here. I call it all kinds of different names. I call it lapidary saw, slab saw, trim saw, but it's a 10-inch saw, and it uses a continuous rim sintered diamond blade. They are not sharp. I'm rubbing my thumb on it right now, and it don't even cut the glove. So uses thousands of tiny little diamonds to cut the rock by grinding it, not cutting it. I say cut, but it's still cutting, but not. So this is a brand new blade. Usually before I start cutting, I got a coarse grinding disc. I'll run this through there 3 times to expose more diamonds on a blade I've been cutting. And it's usually good for probably about, well, most of the rocks I do, probably 10 cuts. And then I just touch it up again. Just, you don't have to run it all the way through. Just kind of touch it, you know, maybe go about a 1/4 inch, 3/8 of an inch, and then you'll be good. All right, let's start cutting. See what we got. All right, first up, I'm going to cut this one here. I'm going to cut it down this side here. Okay, episode 26. Let's see what the first rock looks like. Ooh, that is pretty. Okay, next up, got this one here. And I'm going to cut this end off right here. All right, let's reveal this one. Wow. All right, we got this one here. I'm thinking I'm just going to cut it right in the middle, right down the middle there, because it's thick enough to make cabs out of. Okay, do the dendrites go inside this rock? Wow. Look at that. Carmen, you're not doing me justice here. These are like way too good for what I normally do. Wow. Okay, this green one. Actually, I think I'm going to take it right down the center right there. All right, let's see what the inside looks like the outside. Okay, it's interesting. Smooth cut. Get it to focus. There we go. All right. Get this chunk here. I want to cut it standing up like this. I don't want to cross cut it. I probably could cross cut it. Let's cross cut it. I'm going to run it right down the center. Well, wait a minute. Get the fractures. Yeah, let's run it down the center. Okay, let's see what this one looks like on the inside. A little fortification going on right there. Cool. Okay. This one here. I'm just going to run it right down this side here. See see what this orange one's got going. Oh, interesting pattern. Okay, got this one here. Got all kinds of stuff going on in there. I'll run it right, cut a slab off this side right here. See what this one's got. Whoa. Okay. Man. Got this one here. Got some agate stuff going on there. I'm just going to run it. I'm going to run this one right down the center too. They can go, so when I make cabs, I can go either way on this. Alright, I'm kind of interested in this one. Let's see what we got. Gosh. Textures. I don't know if those are... Yeah, we'll look at this upstairs closer. Wow. Alright. Get this one here. I think what I'm going to do with this one here is I'm just going to cut one side off. See what this one's got going. Wow, a little feather and floaty stuff going on in there. Now, those of you that are watching, or if you're afraid I'm going to cut my fingers on this thing, first, I demonstrated to you that it is not a sharp blade. Secondly, when I'm cutting these rocks, when you see me cut the rocks in my edited version of this, I multiply the speed 7 times, so you're not sitting there getting bored watching me cut rocks for 2 minutes. And this rock here probably took over 30 seconds to push through, so you got to consider that. And I can move my thumb all over the place to avoid the blade. And even if I do touch the blade, it's not going to cut me. But you know, just don't touch blades. You shouldn't. But this is pretty safe. So yeah. And then with this one here, I think what I was going to do with this one, I was going to take it right down the center like that. Here's the outside, and here's the inside. Okay. Alright, I'm going to bag these up. I'm going to take them upstairs, spread them out, look at them closely, and just to let you know, that last rock took almost a minute to push through that blade, so just for your reference. Alright, we'll see you upstairs. Alright, we are back upstairs after cutting them rocks in half, and there's some really nice looking rocks in this pile here, and some really unusual stuff going on in the inside. So let's, no particular order here how I cut them. Let's start taking a look at them here. Alright, we got this one here. Had some dendrite stuff going on the outside there. I thought, well, maybe that'll go on the inside. I'm thinking of jasper. I cut it in half, and there's this big green streak running through the middle of it. Isn't that cool? Bluish green, actually. I'm not seeing any dendrites in there. God, that is unusual. You know how that started. So what I'll do is, you know, I cut it in half, so I'll take a slab off one side or the other and make a cab out of it for next week. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? Okay. I got this big green thing with, or big rock with green spots all over it. Kind of look on the inside like it looked on the outside. Got a few fractures going on in there, but I can work around that. Nice smooth cut. That'll make an interesting cab. And again, you know, a lot of these times I cut them like this, and then I can slab in either direction. So I just wanted to see what I had in there. I'm thinking rhyolite or something like that. Maybe, I don't know. All right, we had this quartz looking thing here. Maybe some jasper mixed in with it. Look at that. And that, you can kind of see my finger on the other side right there. So this has got some clarity to it. Almost like an agate almost. But I don't see any fortifications in there. That ought to make an interesting cabochon. Okay. And this one here. This one had like a agate pocket in there right there. Waterline agate, and then some agate with a fortification. And some more stuff on the outside. So on the inside, look like that. I'm thinking, I saw these fractures here. Let me see if I can get it dried off. And not seeing any. Might be, I call them healed fractures, like the rock cracked a long time ago, and then it kind of, something seeped in there and glued it all back together, so you don't have an active fracture. So that would, man, my mind, right now my mind is racing how to make which designs and where to cut to make cabs out of these things that are going to look so cool next week. Okay. This is the first one I cut. It kind of crumbled and a chunk broke off someplace here. Had this big fortification pocket in here. Thinking rhyolite. Look at that. Get it wet here. Kind of drying out on me a little bit. Isn't that cool? Nice smooth cut. Okay. We had this little one guy here. I split him right down the center. Let me get it wet again. They're kind of drying out on me now. I rinsed them off because I use an oil solution, water soluble oil solution in my water in my saw, and I like to get that stuff off there. So here's another one with had this band run around the outside here and actually went through the rock, which is always good. Got some greenish, reddish stuff going on here. I'm going to say this is a hunk of jasper here. Yeah, the patterns are just awesome on this. And we had this big guy here, all kinds of fractures and stuff in it. And I'm thinking another chunk of rhyolite here. But look how the fortifications filled this thing. Look at that. You can actually see agate-like fortifications down there, all over the place in here. It's so cool. All right, then we had this orange one here. And get it wet again. Okay. To me, it looked like mica, and I don't know. I don't think it's jasper. I'm not sure. Carmen, help me out here. So, it's the inside. I love the pattern. Orange, yellows, and the black streaks running through there. Yeah, there's a couple imperfections, but like I said, I always try to work around them. There's some cracks too, but we'll figure something out here. All right, we have this little guy here. You know, it looked cool from the outside, but look at the inside. Got some feathering moss stuff going on in there in quartz or chalcedony, not positive. That is going to make an absolutely gorgeous cabochon. And actually, this piece right here will probably, come on, will be the cab right there. Then I got enough left over that I could get a whole bunch of slices out of this. Isn't that exquisite? Oh, it's got some fortifications going on in there. I don't know if you can see those or not. Right there. Fortifications are like squiggly lines like you would see in an agate. Well, actually they are agate, but yeah, look at that. That's so cool. And then this one here, get it wet again. Oops. Flying them all over the place here. got fortifications in it right there. Look at that. Now it's kind of cracked up, and it's another one. Let's see. I don't know. I don't think I see active. Oh, there might be one right there. I'll just have to kind of judge it when I slice it up for a cab and work around any cracks or fractures or anything so I can get a good cab that don't fall apart on me when I start assembling it. I like to incorporate that fortification in there somehow. Wow. So here are the rocks for episode 26. I will take these rocks and I'll cut a piece off or slab, or take a piece and I'll make a cabochon out of each one of these rocks here, and you'll see them on the next episode. So now I'm going to clear this off, dry off my mat here, and then I got cabochons from the previous episode, episode 25, and we're going to take a close look at them. So hang tight here while I clean up this mess. These are the rocks from episode 25, the last episode for cutting rocks in half, and I made cabochons out of each one of these here. So we'll start with this one here. This one, I was calling it, it looked like sandstone, but I'm calling it amygdaloidal because it had quartz mixed in with it. Maybe rhyolite, I'm not sure. Get it wet to kind of re-reference you what it looked like. So that's what it looked like. And then here's the cabochon I made out of it. Had a decent shine. Got a lot of the quartz pockets showing through. Here's the front. Here's the back. Here's the front. Nice little sail pattern there. So there's the cabochon. And there's the original rock right there. All right, this one definitely amygdaloidal with prehnite. Get it wet here. Actually, you can see the copper. There's a piece of copper right there. You can see it kind of flashing. But it didn't go down, the prehnite didn't go down into the rock like I wish it would have. It was all mostly on the outside there. But here is the cabochon I made out of it, right there. Rhyolite, you get a decent shine with this stuff most of the time. And you can see some of the native copper right on top. Now let's see if I can get it to flash. I know there's some here, right down there in the corner. There's some native copper. Right there. I know there's some in there someplace. So anyway, I managed to get some of the prehnite on top there. Decent looking cab. There's the back. There's the front. So there is the original rock, and there's the cabochon I made out of it. Okay. At this one here. And I'm still not sure what this is. I'm leaning towards nice because it's got feldspar. Well, actually, I was leaning towards unikite after I cut it because it's got feldspar, mica, and it's got green stuff in there, which generally in my area is epidote. And this thing was just absolutely pretty. Look at that. So, an epidote comes in all kinds of flavors. I think at first I thought this was a nice, but it just isn't grainy like nice. So there's the rock, just to remind you what it looked like. And here's the cabochon I made out of it. Had decent shine on it. A couple spots didn't shine really good, but overall I think it looks good. I love the pattern on it. There's the back. Here's the front. And there is the original rock, and there's the cabochon I made out of it. Okay. I had this big green one here. And I was thinking this was amygdaloidal too, because this was like a big hunk of basalt up here. Had a really nice pattern going. orange and whatever going on in there like that. So here's the cab I made out of it. I tried to incorporate some of the dark stuff on top into the cab. It shined okay. You know, I mean, I don't know. I guess the shine's relative. If I can see the reflection of these lights in there, I should say, man, this is a good shine. But I've had shines that look like glass, and this one does not. So here's the back. There's the front. I mean, I don't know. It's got a little. I'm not going to say undercutting. I think it's just a mineral. Maybe it's undercutting. There's some softer stuff in there because it shined good on the edge, and that black stuff, whatever that is, shined really good, which I was calling basalt. So there's the original rock, and there is the cabochon I made out of it. All right, this one had some green stuff going on here and had some brown stuff. Now I'm calling the brown stuff jasper. You can see it right there. The green, I'm not really sure what it is because I'll show you in the cabochon. You'll see what I'm talking about. It, you know, the brown was solid, but the green had kind of a translucency going to it, if that's a word. So there's the rock, the original rock, and here's the cabochon. See that? It might be hard to tell here, but you can see inside that, and it's smooth right on the surface. And there's the brown jasper I was calling it. There's the back. There's the front. Shine's okay. Again, it had some quartz in there, wherever this green stuff is, and then the brown jasper on the bottom. So I mean, it's got a lot of stuff going on in there. Interesting cab. So there's the cab, and there's the original rock I made it out of. So I called this a piece of nice because it had that grainy looking texture on the outside. And this thing was absolutely pretty. This is probably my favorite one going into the whole thing. That and this one right here. Look at that. It's got all kinds of stuff going on. It's got that dark streak. It's got a little light pale green. It's got some orange going through there. Well, here's the cabochon I made out of it. And that incorporates all the features of that rock we just discussed. The shine was good. I mean, there's some spots in there. You can kind of see them in the light right there that didn't get perfectly shined. So there's the back. There's the front. It's got pink, orange, green, black, all kinds of colors going on. And then I'll probably cut this up and make more of it. I don't know how deep this line goes in here, but there is the original rock, and there is the cab I made out of it. We've grabbed the original rock again. There we go. We'll try this again. It just wants to roll out of my hand. Stay there. There you go. Little chunk of jasper with some hematite running through there. I thought at first it was kind of quartzy looking, but it was actually hematite. It had a lot of interesting little lines running through there. Get it wet here a little bit. Like that. So here is the cab I made out of it. A really good shine on this one. Hematite vein running through there. The cracks were actually filled with quartz or chalcedony or something. I think it come out really nice looking. There's the back. There's the front. So here's the original rock. And there's the cabochon I made out of it. It's one of these little jasper things I've been picking up lately. Although it looks like it's got some hematite running through there. But put a little bit of water on here. I can remember what it looked like. Right there. Nice pattern. So I made a natural out of this because a lot of folks have been asking for naturals. This is not a pattern. I just used the natural shape of the rock and made a cab out of it. Had some little quartz going on here. Nice shine. A couple dull spots like right there. But the pattern's cool. There's the back. There's the front. It's nice little, cute little looking little cabochon here in the natural shape. So there's the original rock, and there is the cabochon I made out of it. And if I quit bumping the camera here, we'll be doing really good. So I got this piece of unakite, which is pretty much representative of the unakite family here. There's nothing weird about this one. It's got a good mixture of epidote streaks running through there, and feldspar and mica. And I made another natural shape out of this one. There you go. I kind of thought it'd come out pretty good. Shine's okay. Got epidote, good representation of epidote streaks running through there. Not too much, not too, not enough type. Here's the back. Here's the front. There's the original rock. And there's cabochon in a natural shape. There's another piece of unakite here. Had a little more feldspar in it. Mica, whatever. A little dark on the dark side. Get wet here. That's what kind of looked like going in. Probably more feldspar than anything. I made another natural shape. Kind of come out kind of teardrop looking, but this is a natural shape. Not seeing a lot of epidote in this one. There's a little bit of epidote in the back. This is the back. There's the front. Shine's okay. A little chunky. There is the original rock. And there is the cabochon I made out of it. Alright, so all these will end up, the cabochons will end up on Etsy, and I did, last weekend I did a really big Etsy upload. I put over 100 pieces on there. So this, what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to keep up now, because that took me almost 3 days to picture, catalog, write up, and upload them, and I don't have time for that. So I'm going to try to keep up and keep these things rolling on Etsy, because it's a lot easier to do a few than it is to do a bunch. Well, I hope you enjoyed episode 26. I'd like to thank Carmen for sending a really nice selection of rocks from California. I really enjoyed them, and I think they're going to make some really awesome looking cabochons. We'll see them next week for sure. And then the rocks from episode 25, the cabochons were pretty good. I've had better, but I've had worse too. But I don't know, I'm kind of impressed, especially the nice. Which one was your favorite? Let me know down in the comments below. I'd appreciate it. Thanks to all the subscribers for subscribing. I appreciate it. All the viewers that watch my videos, I hope you're getting some good enjoyment out of my content. If you haven't subscribed, consider subscribing. There's a button down below. Push that, subscribe, it's free. And then slide over, give me a thumbs up, because that gets the analytics out there so more people can find the content. And then on your mobile devices, there's this thing called hype. If you want to hype the video, it gives me points and I don't know, more YouTube games, I guess. And then share it with your friends or whoever. And then they got that bell thing. If you push that, you get notifications when my videos come out. So thanks for coming back. Thanks for watching. I don't think I have any notes here that I want to share with anybody. And that's all I got, and I'll catch you later.